So before this video starts, I just want to say that my voice, well, I'm a bit sick, so my voice is kind of weird right now, and this video is barely edited because I wanted to keep, like, a lot of the raw footage so that you guys could understand step by step and so that it wouldn't be too rushed. But, I will mention this at the end of the video, but please give me feedback for my next tutorial so I can produce better tutorials for you guys so that it's really easy to understand. I understand that a lot of tutorials online are really hard to follow, so I'm trying my best to counter that. Okay, hello, this is a tutorial for editing Gacha hair. My name is Nina, the owner of the channel, Dahlia Lover. You should know this if you had read my channel description. I just want to thank you for, like, nearly 6K subscribers as I'm recording this. Though I said in the past that I didn't really care about the amount of subscribers I had, I am grateful to the people that genuinely enjoys my art. Anyway, since you're probably on the verge of skipping the intro, let's start. So first, you have to make sure that you have a Gacha Life platform. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to use Gacha Life because that's the easiest one to edit. You also need IBIS Paint X. So yeah, you're going to first go into Gacha Life and screenshot your character. So it doesn't really matter what you want to do. So your character would look something like this at the moment, right? Maybe they're smiling or whatever. You want to remove the mouth, eyebrows, and the eye shine if you're editing the full thing. But because this is a hair tutorial, it doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna do that anyways. So you're gonna go into Studio and you're going to whatever you want to edit. Like if you have more characters in there, you want to screenshot them together, or you could just, or if you want like an individual edit, you would have to turn your character in frame. So you're gonna like use the scale to adjust this placement. But I'm guessing that you already know how to do that, so I'm not gonna really go into detail. After you screenshot it, I'm going to teach you how to remove the background. So you're gonna go into IBIS Paint and import your photo that you took, and click cancel on that. Using the selection layer and the magic wand tool, you're going to just tap the background a bunch of times. So you want to make sure that you screenshot your characters on a solid colored background. It's easier to remove the background like that. And yeah, so after that, you're going to click on the original layer and clear section, like the clear layer section, and then you're going to go back to the selection layer and clear that too, so that you don't have anything bothering you. Then I usually change the background so I can tell where my character is. Now we're going to do the base, but before we do that, if you want your like page to be facing vertically instead of horizontally, because since we imported it this way, you're going to turn your screen and click back to my gallery. After that, you're going to click edit and you're going to go back in. So I'm just going to show you, and you click edit. So now it should be facing vertically. You don't really have to do this. It's really optional. You can like use the eraser tool and erase it, or you can click the move layer and just expand it out until it reaches the edges, and then erase it. I recommend using a hard eraser brush so that it's easier to erase. So it's easier to erase it. Using the first layer, you're going to use your dip pen hard brush, and using the base of the hair, you're going to like thin the out. Oh yeah, you need to turn stabilizer on. We're going to like thin out the outline so that it doesn't seem so bold, and it's easier to like blend in the strands we add, which is later. So like, yeah, you're gonna do that to everything of the hair. For example, I'm just gonna show you a different example. If you go in here, there is a whole layer for outlining the hair. If you don't, it's fine, but like it depends on your style. Anyways, so if you want your style to be a bit thinner, like as you can see the strands here, see how they're like thinner because the size of the brush was like smaller. I added I thinned out the outline so that it matches better. That's the purpose of this. This is another opportunity, like a really good opportunity to add extra strands of hair. Like if you want an extra like piece going out here, you would add that at this point of time. Or you could not, it doesn't really matter. A trick I have for outlining, thinning out the outline is to just color like inside the outline so that it seems like that there's two separate outlines. Does that make sense? Anyways, using a new layer, you're going to hit multiply. This is the shading part of your hair. You can use a pen fade brush, but I don't feel like doing that because I don't want to watch an ad, so I'm just going to use a random watercolor brush I found online. Make sure your stabilizer is on. You may want to outline your hair in this direction. I've seen a lot of people doing this. Like, it just makes all of the hair go straight up. You don't want that. Because if you're doing that, then the direction the hair is going is going to be up. This is essentially what you're doing. This doesn't really work out for any style because it just makes the head look taller and it doesn't look right. Because imagine the hair was like a semicircle, right? The front hair was like a semicircle. You have one point at the top and you want that point to like curve around. Like if you draw a pumpkin, you don't want straight lines down, right? You want it to curve so that it actually looks round. Well, that's essentially what we're doing with the head. We're gonna like go around. We're gonna curve everything so that the direction the hair is going is in a curved direction, leading towards a specific point. You can see the hair doing that as if this was the point and that the hair was going in a specific direction. This is how you want to shade your hair. We're going to continue using the same color that we used, like the base color. And we're just going to shade the top and bottom of each hair section. You also don't need to fill the entire, like you may have like an urge to color the entire thing in, but that leaves an axis around the hair. Of course you can like always erase it, but this takes a lot of work and it doesn't really look that nice in the end. I mean, like, of course it does, but it like depends on your style. You don't have to fill it in to make it look full. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you just go around the edges, like if you just fill in the middle part, it'll look like it's full, but you haven't even covered the edges, right? Like, if you have a section specifically for the back of the hair, as you can tell that these two colors are different, you just want to color it in. You don't really have to draw the strands. It wouldn't look right, and it's also kind of hard to do because there's no end. For the top part of the hair, if you somehow leave a gap like this, you could always just color it in. I don't really know how to edit hair either, so I kind of just do whatever as well, but this makes it so like you didn't miss a whole section of the top of the head. Also, this could make the character's head a bit smaller, so you don't think that the head ends up here, but it just ends here instead. Lower the opacity of this layer to your liking. You don't have to, but I do because we're going to add another multiply layer. This one is to identify where the top of the hair ends. So you're going to make your brush smaller and just like outline the top of it. You want to think of these hairs in like strands. You're going to do that to the front hair only because that's the only part you can see it ending. And then you're just gonna like fill in the crevices of it and lower the opacity. Now it looks like your hair ends somewhere. The next thing we're gonna do on a normal layer this time, this is a default brush, and I just saved it in my favorite. So using the outline fade brush, you're going to click this and click the base of your hair that you were using, and then select the color of the outline of your hair, change the size, and this is when you're going to start adding strands. You are supposed to play around with this. You don't really have to follow the hair structure. You can do whatever you want. Make sure your stabilizer is on, because this is where the fun begins. This is my favorite part of editing hair, because just like one strand could change the entire head of the character. Play around with this. The more strands you have, the better it looks. So don't be afraid to go overboard. But again, you want to follow like the hair's root structure. You don't want to like draw a random strand going here. That wouldn't make sense. You want to start from a specific point and go in a specific direction from there. Like I go here, 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 here. This, you can use this to cover up a lot of mistakes that you've done. This is where we would cover up the parts we didn't like that we added before. Change the size of the brush. Like, you want to play around with the sizes too. You want to play around with everything you can do with this layer, because this is what forms your style most. You want to, after you're done with all of your base like strands, you're going to create a new layer, and clicking this, you're going to click the color that was in your highlight, right? So using the same outline, you're going to kind of go over the highlight so that you cover it, and you're just going to play around with this as well. And of course you can make a layer under it as well if you want it to be under the base layer. So yeah, after you're done that, you're going to, using the eraser tool and any airbrush pen, you're going to you're going to erase the tips of the strands you've just added. This is so that it blends in with the hair better. But of course, if you have like the hair that like comes out like that, you don't want to erase those, because those are the roots of the hair. But like for this one, you could like erase the end so that it blends in with the hair better. This is because that there's too much outlines, and you kind of just want the hair to be one piece, right? You don't want it to be separate pieces. Anyways, after you're done that, you can merge them down if you want. I do, so that there's less layers to go through. The multiply one as well. But you can't combine different like filters together, because then that wouldn't make sense. Anyways, after you're done that, this is usually when I stop and go to the next stage, but because we're only doing the hair, this is how you highlight. Keeping it as a normal layer for now, we're going to use any brush you want. This can be a soft or hard brush. This kind of depends on your light source and how strong it is. If it's stronger, you want to use a harder brush, but if it's lighter, you want to use a softer brush. I don't know what I want to use this time. Using add, so you can actually see. I recommend using the highlight color, like the random highlighted color you have, and like slightly go over it. So we're going to talk about the lighting. If your light is coming from this direction, you're going to have something something shaded here. So this is where the shadow is, and this is where the highlight is. So because this strand blocks these strands, so you don't want these strands to be colored. Yeah, we're gonna do that to all of the hair. We're gonna pretend our light source is coming from here. You could have the light source coming from any direction you want. This is just an example. You have to focus on where your shadow is so that you don't, highlight the wrong area. Anyways, that's what you would highlight if your hair was coming from this direction. I'm just gonna reset. Yeah, so we're gonna reduce the layer, and you can change this to any filter you want. I just prefer using add because it's like the most common one to use. And we're gonna reduce the opacity because I don't want it to be that bright. Anyways, we're going to create a new layer under that, and using multiply, we're going to do the opposite of what we were just doing, which is going in the opposite direction. So this is where the shadow is coming from. You can imagine this as two different lighting sources. You can do this with two different lights too if you want, but the blue would represent the shadow and the yellow would represent the light source. This is how I shade hair. Yeah, so you can see it like that. I prefer using like a cooler, darker color because it would be the opposing color to what I was using before, which was yellow. But yeah, I'm gonna use the same brush because I don't feel like changing it. And we're just gonna color in the complete opposite side of what we're just doing. So we're gonna be having the shadow on this side of the strand. So this is where the light would be blocked. So yeah, after you've done that, you're just gonna reduce the layer opacity. Yeah, the layer opacity. And that's pretty much it. But if you do want to be extra, again, this is for like a different tutorial, but since it does apply to the hair because it's in the area, I'm gonna use linear light and using some kind of blush color and an airbrush. Yeah, we're gonna just kind of redden the face so that it looks like he has blood in his systems, and then reduce the opacity. And that's pretty much it. So give me feedback for what I could do better for our next tutorial. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, bye.